You're breathtaking.
What would you say is the one thing you can't forgive a person for? My mom forgetting I had cancer and never once called me for 9 months during my treatment. She was never around anyways and would forget my birthday, so I guess I should have expected it. Haven't talked to her in about a year. I don't need that toxicity in my life. Edit. Thank you for the silver. I just want to say thank you to everyone. It's amazing to see so many caring and loving people. Just so everyone knows, I'm about 10 months cancer-free. And I have to say, even though it was an extremely terrifying and heartbreaking experience, I'm glad I went through it. I'm a much stronger person with a more positive outlook on life. Or at least I try. LOL. What the frick? That's horrible. Gosh. I'm so sorry you had to deal with that. Breaking the trust you had in them even when you gave them a second chance. Not simply doing something bad once, but doing it on purpose, enjoying it, and continuing to do it. A person can't be forgiven until they've stopped for good or honestly fight the urge to do it again. The best apology is changed behavior. My father cheated on my mom when she had stage 4 cancer. I was 23 at the time and ended up giving up my apartment and moving back home to take care of her. She had squamous cell carcinoma on her foot, so they had to amputate most of her leg and she was in a lot of pain. One night I heard them arguing and he said, "Well, I can't get it from you, so I'll have to get it somewhere else." He ended up spending most of his time at the house of some woman he met from the neighborhood. My brothers, who never so much as visited our mom during the time she was sick, tell me I'm overreacting and I should just get over it. So long as I'm drawing breath, I'll never forgive that son of a bitch for treating my mom that way. And I'll continue to be estranged from my brothers, too. My wife's family taking my distress at losing my wife at 39 as weakness and trying to take advantage to get whatever they could. Nope, can't forget that one. That is beyond shitty. Being distressed over losing your closest loved one is a weakness? Do they not have any feelings for their own family member? My mom tried to pressure my sister like that when she handled my dad's estate. He died rather suddenly, and since myself and my sister are only legally bound people to him and she was older, she had to handle the estate without a will/testament. Turns out our dad's girlfriend had been selling his shit under his nose while he was dying of cancer to buy meth and coke. Coupled it with her husband's mom trying to put a hit out on her and being a livid bitch, my sister nearly miscarried due to stress and has since disowned and ignores pretty much everyone but me and either our family or her husband's family. If they lie extensively and try to cover it up, break your heart, and then lie to you again, but you have no way to prove it, you end things but always wonder if you've made a mistake. My stepmom cheating on my dad. He's such a good guy and has done so much for her, including adopting her son from a previous marriage, and she freaking destroyed him. My stepmother cheated on my dad too. They agreed to go to therapy but she continued cheating. Then she kicked him out of their house because she was tired of paying for hotels to be with her boyfriend. A few years later, while they were separated but not yet divorced, my dad got really sick. He was in the hospital in a coma and the evil stepmother opened up a bunch of credit cards in my dad's name and ran up over $50,000 in charges. She's a monster. I haven't talked to her since my father's funeral and will never forgive her for the way she treated him. Shaming someone trying to better themselves, whether it might be an overweight person in the gym or someone working a minimum wage job. You have no idea what they are going through and yet you chose to make fun out of them. Hurting anyone that can't defend themselves. It's an extremely cowardly act. Wow. I thought airbenders got wiped during the 100-year war, though I agree. Marrying a family member's rapist. Knowingly. I have a family member who stayed married to her husband after he raped her sister-in-law, her brother's wife, and later tried to molest her little sister. When the little sister came forward, the rapist's wife told her she was lying and trying to steal her husband. At 13, geez, that's mind-blowing. Very scary. I would have to move far away. That's just crazy. Using a person's kindness for their own gain. When I was raped, my best friend didn't want to believe me, said it wasn't her place to take sides. I tried so hard to keep the relationship functioning, but the trauma defined me for years, and she only ever acknowledged it with if that did happen. At her 21st birthday, she invited him to the party and didn't tell me until I was already there. I left immediately and never replied to a text or call from her again. It's been years. I had a hysterectomy at the ripe age of 32 and never had a chance to have children with my husband. My sister is an alcoholic and she gets very mean when she's drunk. She was upset with me one evening and she was leaving me message after message because I wouldn't pick up. I listened to one. I probably shouldn't have. She said, "You will never know what it's like to have children. You wouldn't have been a good mom." Pretty much saying I deserve it. She's 48 and knows better. But I don't think I can forgive her. She goes too far. But she's in rehab now for her 10th time. You don't have to forgive her. That's an awful thing to tell someone, let alone a sibling. My first relationship was ended by a mutual friend who talked behind my back. She managed to convince my boyfriend that I was an asshole for studying instead of partying with him. I wanted to give us financial stability so he could pursue his art career. After we broke up, she tried to form a relationship with him and failed miserably. I still talk to my ex, and we got our friendship back. What she destroyed, though, will never be the same. From as long as I can remember, she's the one person that I never managed to forgive. The father of my child cheated on me with my mom. They are now living together as a couple. I can never forgive them. Yes, I do have custody of my son. I work 2 jobs so he can thrive, and it's a real struggle, but I'm keeping it together. He still sees my mom and my ex once or twice a week. But as much as it kills me, I can't cut them off from my son's life. If I remove a loving father from my 2-year-old's life, that makes me the real deadbeat. Things may change though. The process I'm going through gets more and more bitter with each day, and I simply can't look at them. Above all of this comes my child, and I must hold it together for him. Oh no, I can't even imagine what you're going through, let alone your child. Hell, damn, how TF can she do that to someone, especially her own freaking child? Child abuse, emotional or physical. It always amazes me to see people who have suffered so much abuse as a child decide to live a life very different than their parents. They make the crucial decision to end the cycle of abuse by learning more effective strategies of parenting rather than imitating their parents by taking out their anger on their children. I have the utmost respect for those individuals that decide to overcome their tragic childhood by being exceptional parents. By taking responsibility and learning to be a better parent, you end the cycle of abuse and save generations of heartache. Well, if you know me, then it's not surprising. I can't forgive drunk driving. I moved to the United States around 5 years ago from Ireland. 2 years after I did, I was in the car with my family when we were hit by a drunk driver. In the crash, everyone in my family thankfully wasn't hurt except me. Due to shrapnel as well as inhalation of toxic fumes, I now am covered in scars and can no longer speak at all other than small squeaks, because one person decided to drive after drinking. It changed my life and the life of my family forever. Don't drink and drive, people, not just for your own safety, but everyone's safety. My sister gave us 3 days notice that we were being evicted, and that's only because my dad confronted her with the eviction notice he found. Had he not snooped, we would have been completely caught by surprise. It's annoying because we found out that night that my grandmother and aunt had been sending my sister money the entire time we lived with them to help us get back on our feet. We could have used that money for gas, which we had to beg her for. We could have used that money for my parents to get to job interviews that they had, but couldn't get to because of no gas or car troubles. I used to be a different person, and being homeless fundamentally changed me as a person. It absolutely destroyed my social skills and my self-esteem. Since the first time of being homeless, I've been homeless 2 or 3 times after that. It's a bit of a blur. Purposefully harming a child or animal. Do mosquitoes count? Because I feel absolutely no remorse, and I usually kill them with fire. Other than the obvious committing a violent or sexual offense, close friends or family suddenly ghosting me, it's cruel to leave someone twisting in the wind. Sack up and tell me that you don't want to be a part of my life, for whatever reason, and then move on. My mother dated this piece of shit guy. He acted nice at first, but then turned into a complete asshat. This was on again off again relationship. He would hit me and abuse me when my mom was around, and even when she let him hit me. I was scared for my life one time when her and him were fighting. I had to grab a belt and whack him across his back in order to get him off of her. He chased me up the stairs and threatened to snap my neck. This was back when I was 9. The worst part is, despite all the frickled things he did to my sister and me, my mom still had a child with the man. He doesn't pay child support, and he barely has place of his own. He still live in apartment house in his 50s. He wanted to go to the NBA, but was too stupid and stubborn to finish college. He blames his behavior or his upbringing, as his dad treated him the same. I'm not his son. He was never married to my mom. I have no reason to contact him even if he's the dad of my little sister. Visitation with him and my sister are limited because I was living on the house. I don't feel sad nor guilty for having that power over their relationship. It's my sister's fault that she's in this world, but I hope she know that her dad is piece of shit. I hope when he does so I can spit on his grave. Pedophilia. I've cut off my own family for this reason, and I don't regret it. It was this time 2 years ago that the man I thought I'd live happily ever after with raped me. Then he forced me to have an abortion after I found out I was pregnant. He blackmailed me and used my younger sisters to convince me that an abortion was the only way to save their honor and mine. I'm South Asian. A week after I lost my baby, he messaged my friend and asked for her hand in marriage. I was done. He later contacted me around 8 months later and blackmailed me into marrying him, using the same reason. I was adamant not to let it happen, but out of fear that he'd tell everyone I was shameless and a dirty person. I agreed. The 6 months I was with him were hell. Every day he threatened to tell my family what I willingly did and told me everyone would disown me if they knew. He said he did my family a favor by marrying such a waste of space, and that he would sacrifice his happiness by accepting me, as long as I cut all contact with my family and friends. He cheated on me, forced me to watch porn with him. He is an addict, banned me from going to work, sleeping, washing my clothes, eating, wearing makeup, getting my degree and going to the gym. I spent $20K on him and his family on things like food, gifts, trips, etc. Every day I cooked for them and cleaned up after them. But it was never enough. Then came the slaps and sexual abuse if I refused. Every night I closed my eyes and let him do whatever he wanted because it meant that we wouldn't argue or I wouldn't get hit. It was only when I confided in a friend did I find the courage to tell my mom everything from 2017. My mom said that she doesn't give a shit about the world and what they say and that all honor is man-made. She birthed me, and she knows me well enough to know I was manipulated. We hugged, then she asked if I felt better after letting it all out. I cried so much out of relief. We contacted the police, got a restraining order, arranged for my divorce, and finally managed to get rid of him. Sadly, he can't be imprisoned due to there being a lack of evidence, but I gave myself my own closure. I will never forgive him nor his family who knew everything. They gaslit me saying I made everything up and it never really happened. I had proof but they denied it outright. I thought I was going crazy because of how convincing they were. I'm still fighting for justice. I won't let him do this to another girl. He's definitely lit a fire in me. And my God, am I going to make him pay? The little shit doesn't know what's about to hit him. If it's a spouse or partner cheating, please subscribe if you liked the video. It really helps the channel to grow. See you again.